Good morning, afternoon, even I don't care what time of day it is for you. We're just going to get back into poultry production. So, lesson 2 is going to be focused on the history of poultry production. That has changed quite a bit throughout the past 100 years. So, let's get into it. So, what is poultry? The actual term for poultry is a domesticated fowl, focusing on the species valued for their meat and egg use. Let me get my pen ready to go here. So, domesticated fowl, so that could be chickens, turkeys, ducks, guinea hens, anything that you would have as a bird. Pigeons, that's a meat product that people use. Right now, we're focusing on chickens. Turkeys, we could focus on. There are slides that I could put on here, but I've decided to exclude them, so we are not going to focus on turkey right now because that's a terrible X out. But turkeys, even though it is a big industry in Utah, it's not really one of the most widely eaten meats. So we're going to focus on chicken production. So individual households and small flocks, backyard farming. This is the 1800s, early 90s. So this is going to be the early part of this country. So most people, they had a few chickens in their backyard. You're starting to see kind of a reemergence of this a little bit, but not on a wide scale. So eggs and meat birds for family consumption, excess birds and eggs sold to neighbors. If you ever watch Little House on the Prairie, they always have to take a basket of eggs to the store. So if your mom made you watch that show. Egg production. Now, with this lack of research and information here, stuff like a photoperiod cycling were non-existent. People weren't able to try and get their chickens to be the most productive they could be. Photoperiod simply means that during the time, essentially, chickens lay more eggs when we have longer days. So, if you have chickens, I know a couple of you said you do, you could actually put a light in their kennel, in their coop, not kennel, name dog, put a light in their coop that is able to turn on in the morning, and then the chickens will actually wake up. They'll start to go throughout their day, and they will lay more eggs. You don't want them at night because you want them to be able to go back in. They don't see very well in the dark, so you want them to be able to go back into their coop, find a place to roost as things just gradually get darker as the sun goes down. In the morning, however, you can just set that timer, 4 o'clock in the morning, flip that on, and they'll start and keep it on until the sun's up, and they will actually produce far more eggs. This kind of information just wasn't known back in the day. So, like I say, farmers did not know that lighting can have an impact on laying cycles of chickens. Chickens will lay eggs year-round. They just do more of it during the summer months, and not because of the temperature, but because of the light. So, 1920s and 30s is the beginning of broiler production. Increased demand for eggs, an excess amount of young male birds. Farmers would then sell these birds to the locals for meat. Guess what? You're not getting eggs out of a male bird, so you have to have females for that. What did we do with all the males? Well, let's sell them to the neighbors. And so then there was an increase in demand for meat birds. Farmers began to notice some birds were better suited for laying eggs, while others were better producers of meat. Yep. So farmers began to raise single-purpose chickens used for one reason, either egg or meat production, or as opposed to the dual purpose, which work well, but they do both, but they don't do either one really great. So we want to have single-purpose animals that are either suited for eggs or meat production. You can see this happens with most species that we deal with in a large scale. Beef versus dairy, that are two big things. With sheep, you either have meat breeds or wool breeds, even though there are sheep dairies. But up through the 20s and 30s, we just did not have that kind of science. And so once we get into the big productions, that's when we start to see things separating based off of their type. Those of you who are in this class, the first part of the year, we learned about type.